Vehicle registration plates are the mandatory number plates used to display the registration mark of a vehicle, and have existed in Russia for many decades. Most motor vehicles which are used on public roads are required by law to display them. History. The format of vehicle registration plates in Russia has changed immensely since the collapse of the Soviet Union. License plates in Russia originated in the 1910s and were not standardized, as there was a small amount of automobiles. In 1932, license plates became standardized for each region and had special numbers representing which region the automobile was from. Soviet plates prior to 1982 were white on black. They had combination of 4 digits, grouped by 2 and 3 Cyrillic letters in smaller type. The rear plate was square with letters located below the numbers. For those letters, the first 2 indicated the region. For example, the combination 75 to 63 referred to a car from the Kaliningrad region. After 1982, a new black-on-white format for newly registered cars was adopted. The 1982 format differentiated privately owned from government-owned cars and trucks. The government-owned vehicles retained the NNNLLL scheme, and the rear plate was square on trucks than buses, coaches, but oblong on passenger cars, while private vehicles used LNNNL, an invariably oblong format. The last 2 letters indicated regions or large cities. Larger cities usually had several 2-letter codes to account for a larger number of cars. For example, the city of Kiev used and codes, while the Kiev Oblast region used. The use of Cyrillic characters meant that in some cases replacement plates with characters looking like Latin characters had to be temporarily issued to vehicles going abroad. Although the USSR no longer exists, plates issued by it have still admitted in a few ex-USSR states, namely Russia and Ukraine. Current plate format. The current format uses a letter followed by 3 digits and 2 more letters. To improve legibility of the numbers for Russian cars abroad, only a small subset of Cyrillic characters that look like Latin characters are used. Finally, the region number and letters Rus are included, as well as the national flag. There is a different format for trailers, motorcycles, mopeds and scooters. Plates are made of square reflective plates, and its format is 4 digits at the top and 2 letters at the bottom. These plates lack national flag. The standard size for the license plate is 520 mm by 110 mm. Some vehicles, like trolley buses, are not required to have license plates, because they cannot leave the network they operate on and can be identified by number that is painted and is given by local public transport authority. Trucks and buses generally have the license numbers repeated in large letters on the rear of the vehicle for easier identification, although they also bear license plates. Some autonomous regions are not required to have the flag on the license plates. Vehicles used by certain organizations or categories of persons carry special plates. Special plates in the above categories never carry the Russian flag, except for trailers. There are special series reserved for government officials. The license plates for federal government officials originally had a larger flag instead of the regional code, but this type has now been withdrawn. As well, rich businessmen, prominent politicians and crime lords often use paralegally acquired special license plates to get preferential treatment from the transport police and as a status symbol. Often, this is used in conjunction with a flashing siren. The Society of Blue Buckets is a protest movement that opposes this trend. As of 2014, there are new codes for Russian plates, number 82 for the Republic of Crimea and 92 for Sevastopol. The Russian Federation then officially annexed Crimea from Ukraine and now administers it as 2 federal subjects, the Republic of Crimea and the federal city of Sevastopol, Ukraine, backed by most of the international community, refuses to accept the annexation and continues to assert its right over the peninsula. Run-out problem. As per GOST provision, only 1,726,272 combinations may be issued within one administration unit. In certain regions, the amount of vehicles exceeds that number, and the combination may not be reused after a vehicle was taken off the registration. All this creates an issue of running out of numbers. A short-term solution was introducing more codes for those regions. Thus, some regions have 2 codes issued to them. Perm-Krai and the city of St. Petersburg have 3, Krasnoyarsk Krai has 4, Moscow Oblast has 5, and the federal city of Moscow has 7 codes. But this does not fully solve the problem, as the authorities may eventually run out of 3 numeral regional codes, and a 4th digit will not fit without changing the standardized layout of the plate. Introduction of new style license plate is being considered as a future solution. Regional codes. The license plate regional codes from 01 to 89 originally matched the numerical order of the federal subjects of Russia as listed in the Article 65 of the Constitution of Russia at the moment of the creation of the standard. In the following years some codes were reassigned or discontinued. As the populous regions started running out of license plate combinations, new codes past Code 89 were assigned to them as well. Additional triple-digit codes were created by adding A1 or A7 to the existing regional code. Codes of diplomatic representative officers and the international organizations on diplomatic license plates. According to the Ministry of Internal Affairs Order 282 from March 28, 2002. Notes 1 Code 059 is a former code for Syria. The current code for Syria is 133. 2 Code 092 is a former code for Czechoslovakia. Currently, codes for Czech Republic and Slovakia are 148 and 149. 3 Code 106 is a former code for the Central African Republic. The current code for the Central African Republic is 103. 4 Earlier Code 111 belonged to the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, replaced by the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. 5 Code 119 is a former code for South Africa. The current code for South Africa is 137. 6 Code 122 is a former code for the Arab League. The current code for the Arab League is 503. 7 Code 123 is a former code for Liechtenstein. 8 Earlier Code 126 belonged to UNESCO, replaced by Panama. 9 Earlier Code 128 belonged to the European Union, replaced by Macedonia. 10 Code 130 is a former code for the international organizations. 11 Code 139 is a former code for Georgia. The current code Georgia is 158. 12 Code 501 is a former code for the UN International Center. 13 Code 502 is a former code for the Eurocommission. The current code for this organization is 499.